35 minutes past the hour, the Rick and Bubba Show. We're back. Check our website, rickandbubba.com. John Croyle joins us. Always fun when Big John visits the show. John, how you been, buddy?
I've been good.
You've been dreading this, haven't you?
I have. I've had a
John,
great day. I had a great day till 9:30.
John, we're always excited to see you, but we had an extra mic set up. We thought T was coming with you today.
You are so evil. I mean, the one person.
You've already crushed my hand over it.
my kryptonite. I mean, when I want to get whipped, I just look at her and I just get whipped. But I've been with y'all too, so it is.
My favorite time is when we have you and her together, and it's a totally different dynamic than what will be in here today.
Oh, look, we've all been there.
Oh yeah,
we've all been, because I actually I'm talking about a hardened, hard-working, big country strong man. We're blessed to have a little family farm down in a part of Alabama, and the guy who kind of, I don't know what I'm doing, he kind of helps out with it. And he's a big, hardened guy, and who do you think he's afraid of?
5 foot 2 inch,
that's her.
112 pounds.
Yeah. And one day she was jumping me about we cut something down she didn't want cut down.
Mm-hmm.
He went about 10 feet behind me. I said, "Brother, where were you?" He said, "Man, I don't want nothing to do with that." He said, "You're on your own."
Well, there's two kinds of men in the world: henpeck and liars.
Well, so we got a lot going on. I mean, here we go. I mean, we're heading into another holiday season.
Hey, John, you want to talk about football?
Yeah, you want to talk about football?
Hey, congratulations on your son and his team. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's good. I listened a little bit earlier because
I was reading.
You were talking about people turning off because your son's playing at Auburn. We literally had somebody when Reagan was walking through some store when Brody was being recruited, and they said, "I want you to know, if Brody goes to Florida State," because he had committed to Florida State, they said, "We're not supporting the ranch anymore."
Unbelievable. Yeah,
and my daughter, her person with her pulled her off the lady.
Yeah,
but it worked out.
But
people get stupid.
Isn't it amazing?
They get stupid.
I was kind of preparing myself for it, and I wasn't exaggerating. There was an opportunity that he might end up going to Clemson, and I found myself thinking, all right, that's a further ride. Right. Not as good for the family.
Sure.
But at least I wouldn't be in the middle of all this mess.
That's right.
And just because, it's just amazing to me. And there are some good people that do separate it, have it in perspective.
Yeah, I've met both of them.
Yeah, I've met one or two of those.
Yeah.
But and it really is, to me, it's conviction time, and that's the point I was making.
Sure.
I mean, once you've kind of gone through something like our family's gone through, first of all, it always looks silly to me because and you can understand this too. Growing up as a coach's son.
Sure.
Hey, I understand what it's like to be in the stands, and it matters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I never could really understand people who, like Greg was talking about, wouldn't come to work on Monday.
Sure.
About a team that they have really no connection to other than just being a fan of, which is great if you can enjoy it and have fun with it. But they don't have a kid on the team. Their dad doesn't coach it. Most of the time, he didn't even attend it. And then I'm thinking, how I understand how it could bother you that day because you went, you love your team. You should support your team. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. But then if it affects you in your life, like all of a sudden I'm not going to parent today because my team lost. Don't go around Daddy today. His team lost.
Who you marry?
Yeah.
What's first on the list? Right. John worked through that.
Yeah, just like this book.
Right. Look, what y'all give him this morning?
Yeah, just like the book that was written that time, where this family acts like they're proud of their fandom that they didn't come to their daughter's wedding because it was at the Alabama-Tennessee game. And they walk around. Oh, you didn't see that in that book about and they.
I don't read much.
Yeah, and you know what the dad said? He said, "Well, she knew better to put it on that day. We made the reception."
At the reception?
Yeah, and I think to myself, how can that be okay? I mean, that you got to admit that's beyond.
Well, they shouldn't have missed the wedding, but it was kind of silly to put it on that day.
I will agree with that. I will agree with that because now they're
gonna have anniversaries on that day.
Now that husband will never see the game again. But I will say this: it does seem there should be something that clicks and just any normalcy that go. We maybe should go to the wedding. But yeah, so I stand by what I said, and I know that, and I hope that instead of being angry, people will actually have a level head and listen, and we look forward to it, and we're going to have fun with it.
Oh yeah.
No matter how much people try to ruin it, and we will move forward. One of the things with you, because one of the things that we love about you is you've had a great call to kind of talk to people about parenting. Obviously, the story of the Big Oak Ranch And we said before that you have how many children?
We have 107 right now. We've raised 1,800 the last 36 years. Our first kid's 53.
Right. And
It's a circus.
And look, and everybody in this room has had that day where John pulled you off to your side, told you one of the stories about what was going on. I remember.
Yeah, I don't get to the room alone with John because I'm not in the mood to cry.
Right, and one I'll always remember from you.
He got me in Sunday school one Sunday. I didn't even know he was speaking. I showed up. I couldn't get out. No excuse at that point. I was hung. Couldn't get away.
Oh yeah,
sitting there bawling.
So, but now more than ever. I mean, even the children who have homes, you see the ones that the parenting has got to a point that some of us couldn't even imagine.
Right.
But even those that go to a home every day, we're probably living in a time where parenting is under attack. Because now it's one thing for one generation to do it poorly, but then when it gets passed on to another one, now it starts rolling. It becomes normal to do bad parenting. And I know a lot of parents are thinking, right now, what are some tips? Because they may not have got it from their own parents, frankly. Especially this time, you're moving into that zone where me, my, won't, got to have, So what are some things you could talk about on that?
I was riding down the road with Brody, and I forgot how old he was, like 6 or 7, and I was on my cell phone, and I was talking with somebody, and I thought it was a really important phone call. And I hung up, and he just looked up and said, "Dad, how come every time I'm with you, you're always on cell phone?"
That's right.
Whoa, right in the teeth. And we were talking a little bit a while ago about, abusing your kids with a cell phone. There's literally people I've been sitting with, their kid is at another table in a restaurant eating, and they're texting back and forth. We have bought into it, and I'm not kicking cell phones, texting, importance of phone call. I'm not questioning that. But if you're riding down the road, and we were talking about a little while ago, those moments of we got to think 10 years from now. 10 years from now, okay, your oldest son, okay, his 10-year market is probably, you realize in another 4 years he's probably going to be married. And his wife is already born, and they're breathing the same air, and you're going to be a granddaddy. You're saying, I'm not that old. Yeah, you are. But
no, I know. I've got one that'll be 21 in December. I mean, in my opinion, even though I'm still helping her because she's not to the point where she's completely financially independent.
Right.
As far as my influence, I told her this, I don't know what goes on in Philadelphia.
Sure.
I don't.
Yeah.
I've already packed that bag.
That's right.
And this one.
Oh, packing the bag. That's good.
Yeah, see, I like that one.
I like that.
What is that spy cam quit working you had on the internet?
Well, I still have it.
But
okay. But 866 We Be Big is the number. John Croyle is our guest. And always fun to talk to John. And, we had Pat Williams on the show. Did you know that?
I heard that, yes.
Pat Williams
he interviewed you.
He interviewed you. And you know what his quote was? And when you say things like this, you think, I'll get him on that. He said, I've got to get to the ranch.
Oh, really?
So know that Pat Williams said that.
Good.
He said he only cried twice during the book, and talking to you was one of them. I said, well, I know how you feel.
Oh, but
I cried after that 100-hole golf tournament. I cried after I rode that horse. I cried before I rode that horse.
Right.
I have never seen more womanly traits in a man than that day. I mean, squealing like a girl that we hadn't got to the horse yet.
Look, I have a basic rule. I don't ride anything without a clutch. Now, look, I got on Talladega, let it eat, okay?
Right,
I don't have a problem with that. I don't want to ride any horse bouncing around the farm.
You'll be proud of me. My wife and I actually have taken on the challenge of overcoming our fear of horses, and we actually have ridden horses twice.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
God, I remember that day like there was no tomorrow.
In Ireland.
You remember getting them on?
Well, that's because Sherry told you to do it. You didn't do it.
No, I really do.
Sherry made you do it.
I like riding a horse. I think to myself, man, that looks cool. Now, I'm going to tell you something.
It's a long way to the ground, man.
I tell you, the thing that bothered me the most, even when it goes well, I wasn't prepared.
Next day.
Yeah, it seems like men should have ridden horses maybe once and decided they didn't want to do that anymore.
Next day.
We're made a certain way that doesn't seem horse friendly.
No. Yeah,
anatomically
challenging.
Yeah, we should be riding side saddle, not the ladies.
Right.
Yeah, really. That's true.
And it's like the bicycle.
That's really true.
The bicycle was always designed wrong. The boys had the bar, the girls didn't. It should be right opposite.
I got off that big horse after going through in Ireland one of their national forests, which was unbelievable. I got off that horse and I said, honey, I got good news. Good news is I finally have ridden a horse for a long distance, and the bad news is if you want to have any more kids, it's over.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, my goodness. Wow, that horse. But when they go, now we're going to get up here and gallop. And I'm like, oh, no.
No gallop. No gallop.
I just like walking. Let him walk.
Where is the ATV trail?
I want to look at the lake.
Where you crank this?
John, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
Just let him walk.
And don't you love when the horses talk to each other? Well, you see what I got.
Yeah.
Oh, when I get on a horse, I'm almost certain they look disappointed. Every time. Oh,
No, Rick, they look under pressure. Is what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Well, you
Under
hear 'em
load.
right. Oh,
they
gosh.
They know.
You know, we talk a lot. I know we got 5 minutes left, but we talk ad nauseum on this program about fathers and sons, and that is important. But, you know, one of the things you told me that I'll never forget is don't ever forget sons don't just need an influential father, so do daughters.
Absolutely.
And the 5 questions you want to ask your future son-in-law. Because there's a lot of people ask, y'all talk a lot about being dads to sons. What about daughters? And what about daughters?
You know,
After you show them your gun
Right,
and your
yeah.
chainsaw,
Right.
what then do you ask?
What about daughters?
well, I got Reagan her first date.
Right.
Because she had grouped in, and I brought the boy in. We had a real nice conversation. I said, I was the second human to ever touch my daughter. I know what condition she's leaving my house. She better return in the exact same condition, or I promise you, you will not leave this house in the condition in which you entered it.
That's a good one.
That cleared the
I
room
love
to
that.
him.
That's a good one.
And then our son-in-law came to see us, and he said, I'd like to, you know, our son-in-law, John David Phillips, quarterback at Alabama about 10 years ago. And I mean, he's now been a member of the family for years. He still ain't good enough, but I tell him every day.
Right.
So it's working itself
That's right.
out. And
Well done.
anybody with a daughter knows that's true. I mean, he's a father to our grandsons. So, I mean, he still ain't good enough.
You give her the credit for those
Oh, that's right.
grandchildren.
Right.
Anyway,
He just was there.
yeah. Right.
But oh, it's just bad. But
Right.
I hope T ain't listening.
you know, she is.
She's gonna get you.
Yeah, she loves you. But he came to see me, and I said, well, you know, he said, I'd just like to ask your permission of your daughter's hand. I said, okay, fine. And there was a particular day where something just hit, and I said, there's 5 questions I got to ask you. I said, number 1, are you going to take care of my daughter financially? I don't want her living in a Taj Mahal. I don't want her living in a hut. I just want her to be cared for, and I never want money to be an issue. Most marriages end up in divorce over money many, many times. And so I said, I want to make sure that financial is not an issue. Number 2, you're going to take care of her mentally. I know how smart she is. I mean, she's got all the degrees at Alabama, and there's 5 honor societies, and she's a member of all of them. Me and Brody turned them down, but
Right.
she accepted them. And
Somebody had to represent.
there you go. I had to get a Croyle in there. And I said, I want you to push her. I want her to get, if she wants to get a master's in this or another degree in this or learn this, I want you to push, help her get there. And then I want to be sure that you take care of her physically. And I said, never living in fear, never worried about, and also all this stuff you see on TV, the inappropriate sexual acts, that is TV made for show. That is not the way life is, and that kinky stuff is not accurate. And I want her to know you will step in front of her and take a bullet and not even blink. And number 4, I said, I want to make sure that you take care of her emotionally. I said, inside the heart of every girl, every wife listening to us, every girl, inside every child's heart is every girl's heart is a round hole called emotional need. And inside every boy's heart is a square peg says, hey, I'll meet that need. Are you willing to allow God and your relationship with her to knock those edges off so that you can meet that emotional need? I said, if not, I said, you'll never meet her emotional needs, and y'all's marriage will be in the toilet. And I said, and last, I said, spiritually, I said, there'll be a day. Well, when you get married, I will hand her hand to you and said, she's yours now. And I said, I had her on loan for 22 years, and she now belongs to you. And then there'll be a day when you hand that same hand to God and say, God, I had her for 50 years. I want, when she is handed over to God at that time, that you look at God and say, I did the best job I could do. And he says, well done, because you made her a godlier woman then than she is now.
Well, there it is.
John, you did it again.
You did it again, John.
Did it again.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Who's got
very much.
onions
Thank
in
you,
here?
guys.
Always an honor. And if
Dang
you
ragweed.
find out everything you want to know about Big Oak Ranch by going to rickandbubba.com. We'll put the show notes information there. John Croyle, thanks for being with us. If you leave us right now, have a great day. You got more Rick and Bubba, Lord willing. We'll be back after the top of the hour or tomorrow.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.